beautiful homemakers. I'm continuing Chapter 4 in pamphlet number 2 of the original 1922 Fascinating Womanhood pamphlets. This section is called How to Acquire Physical Perfection. Indoor work may be exercise, but is of little value to your health. The greatest benefit in exercise out of doors is that the exercise causes you to breathe deeply and long of the greatest tonic in nature, fresh air. This causes your blood to be purified and your whole system to be rejuvenated. Indoor work tires you out with supplying you with the tonic of fresh air to relieve your weariness, and thus often does more harm than good. Even if you work hard all day long and are tired out, you will be surprised to discover that additional exercise in the open, calling into play a different set of muscles, will, instead of increasing your weariness, refresh you to such an extent that you may forget your fatigue entirely. It seems strange that the cure for that tired feeling is to work a little longer, though with a different set of muscles and in the open air. But such is the fact. The additional exercise in the fresh air gives nature a chance to clean out your lungs and your blood, and to wash out the poisons in your system which have caused the feeling of weariness. As for time and opportunity and money, they are not obstacles if you possess a little determination. Surely you can take half an hour's walk every day, and a good long hike on Saturday afternoons and Sundays. This alone, if kept up for a few months, will have a remarkable effect upon you. In the absence of tennis or golf, plain calisthenic exercises in the open air will be sufficient. All you need is a lonely spot where you are assured of privacy, maybe your backyard. Unless you are simply so apathetic that you don't deserve success, you can accomplish a great deal in this direction. In fact, the walking and the calisthenics, if persisted in, especially with the assistance of some book of instruction in physical culture, will do all that can be done toward making you a perfect woman physically. I caution you not to say, I'm going to do this workout on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and I'm going to walk for an hour on Tuesdays and Thursdays and Saturdays. Don't tell yourself what you're going to do, because believe it or not, you rebel against yourself. Instead, say that you want to spend 20 minutes or 30 minutes a day doing something. Mark out that time. Is it going to be morning, lunchtime, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 6 or 7 p.m.? Decide what time or times are going to work for you, and then daily choose what to do, because variety is what compels you to keep going. If you're always walking, then you want to take different routes. If you choose to play tennis, go to different courts, etc. 7 Essentials of Good Health. In this chapter, a few fundamental rules covering good health and physical fitness will be given, but you must not assume that our treatment here is in any way adequate. The subject is so important that 2 or 3 volumes could be devoted to it with profit. As it is only one of many other subjects to be covered by the present work, however, you must get more detailed treatment of this particular subject elsewhere, in physical culture magazines, in books from libraries, in gymnasiums, or in the many books on the subject advertised and sold by mail. The 7 essentials of good health are the following. 1. Remove the causes of disease. 2. Live sensibly. 3. Exercise properly and plentifully. 4. Drink plenty of water. 5. Eat with good judgment. 6. Breathe deeply. 7. Practice relaxation frequently. One book that I had referred to for many years was Stormie Omartian's Greater Health God's Way. She has 7 chapters as well, and they almost completely line up with what was just mentioned here. Instead of removing the causes of disease, which is just going to be a little blurb in this book that is basically telling you to seek a physician if you're sick, hers is replaced with prayer and fasting. The Live Sensibly chapter kind of aligns with Stormie's Peaceful Living chapter. Exercise Properly and Plentifully is also chapter 3 of Stormie's book, Proper Exercise. 4. Drink Plenty of Water aligns with Stormie's chapter 4, Plenty of Water. 5. Eat with Good Judgment is Stormie's chapter on pure food. Breathe Deeply aligns with periods of fresh air and sunshine. And the last chapter, Practice Relaxation Frequently, aligns with Stormie's chapter on perfect rest. And years ago, I wasn't living any of those 7. My life was in chaos, and I never felt good. And after I started reading her book, I slowly started coming into alignment with these 7 suggestions. I got healthier and life was better in many ways. Then a couple years ago, when I started studying health again, I reread her book and I realized I was doing all but 1 chapter. I was doing the prayer, but not the fasting. So I bought a book on fasting and I started it and it was good, but fasting sounds so horrible. It sounds like I'm going to starve. But when I heard about intermittent fasting, that sounded doable, not like starving. Eat what I like, but only during my eating window. And I noticed that when I first started, I really felt like I was going to starve, so I was overeating, like, let me eat as much food before 6 o'clock as I can. But then when I found out, I'm not going to starve. I can go 12 hours, then 13, then 14, then 15. Today I went 18. When you realize you're not going to starve, you start choosing your foods more carefully, and everything just starts coming into alignment with your goals. So we're first going to talk about 1, removing the causes of disease. There are many girls with something fundamentally wrong in their anatomy who cannot possibly attain good health until the diseased part is eliminated. Naturally, in such cases, the best thing to do is to go to a physician and have it removed, whether it's a faulty appendix, diseased tonsils, adenoids, or any other part which can be reached by a surgeon. Let's stay away from the doctor, okay? Let's do this naturally instead. Often girls will go for years wondering all the time why they are unattractive when, without their knowledge, something is wrong inside of them that makes good health impossible. Going to the dentist, extremely important. Go every 6 months. You'll be amazed at how much better your health will be. Nature may give no warning to the girl herself, but it will give warning to the men by making her unattractive, that here is a girl not physically suited for marriage. One girl we knew complained and ailed for years without knowing that anything was fundamentally wrong with her. She never had a single beau. Then suddenly she found that her appendix had been diseased all along. She had it removed, took a good long rest in the country, and soon had acquired a robustness she had never had before, that she had never before deemed possible. She was so much more lively, pretty, and interesting with her recovered health that 2 or 3 men began to evince a genuine interest in her. If there is something wrong with you physically, all the powder and paint, all the arts and wiles which women know, cannot induce nature to give you that magnetism, that fascination for men, which she will give you if you are in perfect physical condition. And without that magnetism, which only nature can give, you are helpless. Nature won't let you fool the men. And yet, I have found that there are some men who are attracted to women with ailments because they love to feel needed, especially when the woman is petite. Her illness kind of brings out the protective instinct of some men. Okay, number 2 is conquering the nerves. And this aligns with live sensibly. The average normal girl will live sensibly. It is the exceptional girl, the girl passionately devoted to books, to music, to art, to her profession, who forgets to live a sensible life. She will spend day and night, will rob herself of sleep, of recreation, and sometimes even of proper food, because her whole life is immersed in its obsession. Naturally, such a girl cannot remain healthy. She simply doesn't take the time to do things required by nature. The best plan for her is to get a hobby of some kind to take her away from her work. The hobby must be an out-of-doors one to get the best results. Then she must carefully see to it that she gets enough sleep, and that the other requirements of good living are fulfilled. Others who neglect the rules of sensible living are girls with nervous personalities. They are constantly working themselves up into a fever of excitement. Everything that occurs, everything that is discussed, assumes exaggerated importance in their eyes, and by the end of the day they have had such an exciting time that they are mentally and physically exhausted. By keeping this up day after day, they ruin their nervous systems, their digestions, and their entire constitutions. For these distraught individuals, the best remedy is sensible thinking. They must take themselves in hand and convince themselves that there are only 1 or 2 things every month of real importance, that everything else is not worth getting excited about, and that these things are of little consequence compared to their own happiness and peace of mind. Better still, they should center their minds upon some worthwhile study or avocation, and let it transfer the thoughts from the innumerable things which have been the cause of worry or excitement. They should become so interested in the big thing that paltry subjects will no longer worry them. But the interest in the hobby or avocation must not become so absorbing that the girl forgets to eat and sleep and otherwise take care of herself. Of course, this chapter is speaking to drama queens, people who excessively worry, people that don't take their concerns to the Lord. I've noticed that as I'm getting healthier, I'm sleeping a lot more. I always used to need 9 hours of sleep. It's hard for me to go to bed thinking, I've got so much to do and I'm going to be in bed for 9 hours. And now, as I'm getting more healthy, I'm actually sleeping 10 hours. And yet, that's how your body heals, isn't it? I'm definitely getting my beauty sleep, and it's definitely helping. I typically now, at the moment, I'm trying to get to bed by 10. Then I read, and hopefully I'm asleep by 11, and then I'm up by 8. That's 9 hours of sleep. I'm in bed for 10. Sometimes I'm sleeping the whole 10 hours. Another thing you must do to conquer your nerves is limit social media. There's a reason it's called fake book. If you're spending too much time on social media, you're not conquering the things in life that are really important, that really need to get done, the things that will actually make your life better. Stop the scrolling. More action, more sunshine, more exercise, more focusing on your health. Think of all the things you could accomplish if you get off of social media. Makes such an incredible difference. I know it's so easy to get sucked in. For me, it's YouTube. And sometimes days go by where I'm not on it and I think, wow, look how much I've gotten done today. It's so wonderful just to putter around the house with my own thoughts, not constantly having to learn. There's so many interesting subjects on YouTube, isn't there? Just remember what is important in your life. Are you doing it? What steps do you need to take? Number 3, letting nature assert herself. This aligns with exercise properly and plentifully. Except for the exercises which are especially designed to promote the strength of the abdomen, the back, and the muscles of the limbs, the main purpose of all exercise is to force you to breathe deeply of fresh air. That's why it should be taken in the open. I never thought of that before. For this reason, it matters not what form your exercise in the open takes, whether walking, swimming, golf, calisthenics, or out-of-door sports in general, so long as it accomplishes the purpose of making you breathe deeply. The oxygen in the fresh air is food for your blood. You wouldn't think of going a long time without food for your stomach, yet you will find 100 excuses for not taking long walks in the open, filling your lungs with air, and letting your blood have a good meal. Every time you take food for your stomach, remember your blood and give it a good meal also. That's why they used to say when you'd walk after your meal, you'd say, "I'm going to take a constitutional." Then the little red corpuscles will revive themselves and carry real nourishment to every nook and corner of your weary, oxygen-starved body. Ailments that have been bothering you for years will slowly disappear, and you will become the glowing, vivid personality that nature meant you to be. Walking is probably the exercise upon which you will place your main reliance. In fact, walking alone, if persisted in, will give you the necessary exercise, although other forms of physical activity should be attempted if convenient. If you're a busy person, set a certain time each day to take your walk, or set 2 times each day. If you're employed, start earlier and take a walk before boarding the car or the elevator. Instead of tiring you, it will refresh you with an oxygen meal. You will be actually much fresher when you begin the day's work. Begin tomorrow and walk a few blocks. Increase it 2 more for the next day, and so on, until you cover a considerable distance every day. Now there is walking that consists merely in getting somewhere, and there is walking that is an inspiration and a joy in itself. Yours is to be the latter. Walk briskly, throw your shoulders back, hold your abdomen in, and stretch your spine until you feel as erect and tall as you can be. Don't slouch. Imagine, if you wish, that you are a motion picture actress and that every step you take is being registered by the camera. You can, if you try, make your walk a thing of grace and beauty, attractive in itself. When you walk, never lose sight of what you are walking for: fresh air and oxygen. Therefore, breathe as deeply as you can. You want the air to get to the very bottom of your lungs. Make it go there. Inhale and exhale slowly. If you become short-winded, take a few easy breaths and then begin again. If you will continue this, the blood will soon begin to tingle in your veins. This means that the fresh oxygen is reaching every cell of your body and revivifying it. After the first 2 weeks, you should never be satisfied with less than a half-hour's walk each day, and a good long hike of 3 or 4 hours once or twice a week. Supplement this walking, however, with other forms of exercise at every opportunity. And one more thing about sleeping. Did you know that every hour of sleep before midnight is worth 2 hours after? Something to think about. Now, I worked from age 18 to 36 when I had my baby and was finally able to be at home. And I worked in an office, and I could see the ocean, which was very nice, and I thought I was getting enough sunshine, but of course I wasn't. I was literally in an office from sun up to sundown. It was depressing in that way. And at some point, I decided to stop by this beautiful neighborhood on the water each day coming home from work. And what a difference that made in my life, especially during the winter. If I left work at 5, and the sun set at 5:15, I would watch a beautiful sunset. The homes were on a canal, kind of like Venice, and there was a mile circle walk. Eventually, I was able to then do this on the way to work as well. Or if not there, I would choose other neighborhoods to walk morning and evening. And at lunch, I started going to the marina. I'd stay in my car often. That's when I did my Bible study. But occasionally I would also get out and take a walk. And then when they started charging for parking at the marina, I just moved to a really nice neighborhood and read my Bible in the car there and then got out and took a walk amongst the mansions. Basically, for exercise and for being at home, it's where there is a will, there is a way. Always. Fly Lady calls exercise loving movement. What loving movement will you begin to incorporate into your day? Go for a walk in your neighborhood. Walk in a new neighborhood. Walk indoors at a mall. Visit a park. Go hiking, golfing, play tennis, do gardening, dance at home, or take a dance class. Rollerblade, ice skate, bowl, go horseback riding. Find a women's gym or an upscaled gym that makes you want to work out. Work out to YouTube videos. Try Lisa Welch's Everyday Woman's Workout number 1. Try Pilates. Try Kalinetics. It looks easy, so don't hurt yourself by overdoing it. But don't try yoga. Every yoga pose is worship to a pagan god and breaks the first and second commandment. Also, chiropractors warn that yoga poses are unnatural and hurt your body. In the same way, too much bicycle riding, even in a spin class, can hurt your tender body parts. Also, the pounding of jogging is very bad for your knees and feet. You need to find loving movement. Just do as much as you are able and keep building on your strength. I think I'm going to end here, and we will cover points 4 through 7 in the next video.